the conversation today. Will heads roll for the Kuje prison attack? Will heads roll for the Kuje prison attack? President Buhari said that heads must roll, but so far, heads are still on shoulders. Here's today's big hard fact. It's been 9 days since terrorists attacked the Kuje Medium Security Custodial Center. And in the 9 days since this happened, Nigerians have been asking lots of questions, right? So how could this have happened? What lapses let it happen? Who will pay for those lapses? What are the implications for insecurity in the country? And I'm supposed to have two guests. One of them isn't here yet, but when the second guest joins, we will also be talking to him. Right now I have a guest from SBM Intelligence, Confidence McHarry. Good to have you on the show. Welcome back to Hard Facts, Confidence. All right. While we're trying to sort out the sound there, because I don't think Confidence's mic is on. While we figure that out, Lagos, you can join the conversation on Facebook. Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3, YouTube Nigeria Info FM. So we're trying to figure out what the technical problem is. As soon as we do, we'll keep having the conversation. Looks like Confidence cannot see me, but we can see Confidence and see everything that's happening. When we are able to talk to Confidence, we'll let him know. We'll let him talk to us about what exactly happened on the night of that attack. We'll also find out from him, some of the most shocking things about this situation, right? A lot of Nigerians are like, how could something like that happen at a place that is a medium security prison, right? And that place is so close to the international airport. How could they succeed? And then we're also going to talk about President Buhari's questions for the correction service and the intelligence service, right? Like I said, heads haven't rolled, but maybe Confidence McHarry knows that heads will roll. So Confidence, if you can unmute your mic, please unmute your mic so that we can have this conversation. It doesn't look like he can hear me. It doesn't, I don't know what's going on with that, but we're having technical difficulties. We're going to try and figure that out, and then we'll keep having this conversation. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. It's 7 minutes now past 5 o'clock. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's take a quick break, figure out the technical difficulties we're having, and then we'll keep going from there.
This is The Voice Note on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
If you marry the wrong guy or the wrong girl, everything can be derailed one way or the other. So don't play with it. Don't marry a fool, whether male or female. Have a sense of who you are. And when you have a sense of who you are, you will understand who is the fit for you as the Lord leads you. You will know that it's not about naira and kobo. It's not about silver and gold. The son of a rich man is not a rich boy, because only the one that has the cash flow has the money. What's the best thing that will happen? They'll have a big wedding. They didn't have it for you. They had the big wedding for their own image. They will give you a house and many cars on day one. All the cars will get old at the same time. And if you do not have the capacity to maintain or to keep them, you're already in trouble. They can't pay school fees. Cash flow is money to do everything you need to do every day, not for the wedding ceremony. So marrying the son of a rich man is not your solution. Seek to find the bone of your bone. Who can accommodate the vision and the ambition in your heart as a person? Who can be an enabler for you to emerge? Who can encourage and support you? It might not look like it right now, but just understand that people manifest in what? In seasons. Don't allow anybody to deceive you. Look for a man that fears the Lord, a man who is responsible and right thinking. He has vision and he has ambition. I guarantee you, he will show up somewhere and you will be glad you met him.
This is The Voice Note on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
You know, it echoed in this room. Look, Aliko and I go back a long way. He's done phenomenally well. About 2 decades done phenomenally well. Jim, Mike Adenuga and co. Let me tell you what they all have in common. They are all very combative personalities. Because of that, no regulator will go to them and try nonsense because most of them know how to deal with that regulator. We have to move beyond that, making Nigeria an economy only for the few people who are very combative. Some of us too are combative enough, so people know what's in regulation. Now let me continue because those we are destroying are the 22-year-old entrepreneurs, the 25-year-old entrepreneurs. This economy is rigged against the youth. And it's not going to grow. When Aliko and I were 30, we were allowed to grow. Today, we're killing the youth from growing. So it's not going to grow. That's the point I'm making. And the reason, the things we have to correct, you see, any regulator that wants to get applause, just go after some people, destroy some businesses, and the more you destroy, the more they hail you. It's even proof that you're working. It has to be a paradigm shift. We have to get out of that complete nonsense. Without that, it will negate any monetary policy and everything else.
I think we're just going to do audio. For some reason, we're unable to figure out the technical thing with what's the word I'm looking for now? We're unable to figure out the technical difficulty with the phone lines. Confidence, hi. Can you hear me? Well, we're live on the show. We're just going to do it over the phone. I don't know what the technical difficulty is. They're trying to figure it out. We're able to see you. We're able to hear you. But you are unable to do it on your end. So let's just go along. Thank you so much for joining us. Confidence is from SBM Intelligence. Thanks for joining us on the show. Okay. So my first question, first off, is... this Kuje prison attack, based on the information we have in the public domain, what exactly happened on the night of the attack?
All right. So as we found out about a week later that the Islamic State, its local affiliate, that's Islamic State West Africa Province, was responsible for the attack. It led an army of its fighters into the medium security facility, broke the entrance, and was barely resisted by the security on the ground. Then gained access into the prison facility, spent a few minutes lecturing the inmates, and then took away many of their colleagues that were incarcerated. Some of them battle-hardened Boko Haram fighters, chief of whom was the chief bomb expert for Boko Haram, but it's unclear what faction he belongs to. And from the available information that we had in the media reports is that one of the only casualty that we had in that incident was from a police officer who apparently was not aware of what was going on, because according to what we were also told, the military contingent that was on ground before the attack took place was redeployed a mere 24 hours before, and the new guys on the ground were not entirely conversant with the area. And when the terrorists came in, they received very minimal. They went on to perpetrate what they came for. The attack lasted for about 3 hours without any form of interception from any security agents, nothing from the police or the military whatsoever. So the weekend later, we were told that at the camp where the Kaduna trained victims were being held, that the terrorists who returned from the prison in Kuje, in Kaduna rather, were given a hero's welcome. So it is clear, and we established the fact that the people who led the attack was the Islamic State, and they were also responsible for the Kaduna train attack in March.
Now, it seems shocking to Nigerians that such an attack could happen because Kuje is a medium security prison, right? It's very close to the international airport. I mentioned that already on the show. So for a lot of Nigerians, they're like, how can something like this have happened? How could they have succeeded? Why wasn't there a stronger security presence or resistance, Confidence?
So I think that's a wrong question to ask. The right question to ask is that why is a prison that is housing such caliber of prisoners being located close to town? So in the first place, we should not be having that kind of a holding facility for terrorists anywhere close to an important infrastructure like an international airport, because it not only gives us a bad look, it also gives residents in the area a reason to sleep with one eye open. And to answer the question that is being asked, that how could such an attack happen in the capital? I do think that for any security watcher who has been watching events within and around the federal capital would see this thing coming by at least 2 miles away. Because I should recall an incident that happened in 2020 where the U.S. Africa Command explicitly warned the federal government that the Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State are making a play for the South, with their end goal being the Atlantic Ocean. And if you'll excuse me, Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, was, according to their reports, in the direct line of fire. So according to their estimates, the FCT could be attacked anytime soon. And a few weeks after that, the Nigerian Customs Service released intelligence reports that Boko Haram was trying actively to infiltrate Abuja. So the government responded by situating security officials around 5 strategic locations within and around the capital to prevent such kind of a thing physically from happening. So at the end of 2 weeks, the government withdrew those forces. And in the same vein, Human Angle reported that Shekal's faction of Boko Haram, that was at the time when Shekau was alive, had about 400 to 700 fighters between Niger and Nasarawa states alone. The importance of this angle to the story is that these states share a geographic contiguity with the federal capital. So in essence, the federal capital was surrounded even before this happened. So for terrorists to easily ride in with motorcycles to a medium security facility, get their guys out without any repercussion, it could tell you the kind of years of planning or months of planning and the sophistication that went in with it. So on one other hand, people are beginning to feel that it could actually be a prisoner swap, because the group has asked the federal government to release prisoners. Some of their members have been held by the federal government for years, and the federal government has refused to. So some people are alleging, although I do not know the true extent of this, if perhaps the release of some of the victims of the Kaduna train attack just a few days later was a quid pro quo arrangement that you could go right ahead to attack Kuje prison and get your guys out. We're not going to stop you. And then in exchange, give us prisoners from the train attack. So these are the issues, and we could also talk about the poor security around the area. But there's so much that the presence of adequate security can do if the people tasked with securing a facility do not lift a finger to repel an attack. So there's also the will and also the way of execution. So right now, the most prominent of what we've seen so far in the revelations that follow this attack is that there was no will to repel the attack. This has been made clear in indications by not only the Minister of Interior, but also the President himself.
Okay. Now, here's the reason I was asking that question. Because of the casualty figures. Now, we're happy that our security agents did not incur more casualties, right? But the question is, how were the terrorists able to take over the prison, hold it long enough to do all they did without inflicting more casualties? Doesn't that suggest that the defenders gave up early?
So that's a good point. That's a good point to note. As I've said earlier, they had time on their hands to conduct a sermon and also try to release other prisoners, even though some of them decided not to leave on their own. So people who had a few weeks or a few months of their sentences left the entire state. So as for how they were able to do such without any form of resistance whatsoever, it could also feed into the feelings of the conspiracy in quotes that I talked about a few minutes ago, that it might actually have been a quid pro quo deal, because even the aide to Sheikh Abba Gumi had also said that he had intelligence on this attack, and he passed it on to the Chief of Defense Staff, and the Chief of Defense Staff did not act on it. So from everything that goes on, even if you read meanings into President Buhari's tweet and statements from the Minister of Interior, it points to sabotage. So it is this sabotage that many people are running with. And frankly, to be honest, the kind of revelations that are coming in, I mean, even from news reports after the attack, we were told that a particular security officer, I think from the police force, was arrested for communicating with the terrorists. So everything, all the revelations we've been having since the attack took place points to sabotage, but the extent of the sabotage is not really well known, and the even sadder thing is that there has been no appetite to punish or to bring to accountability any of the people that were involved, and that is where the major problem lies.
That brings me to my next question. The president had lots of questions for the corrections service and the intelligence agencies. He did say that heads will roll. Are you saying that heads have not rolled? If they haven't rolled, why haven't they rolled?
So we have to first of all understand the personality of the president as a commander-in-chief and the sole guarantor of security in the country. Buhari is not the kind of person that sacks people that have worked with him, at a whim. He could give that to other politicians who have led the country as presidents, but it will be very, very difficult for you to, I don't know, in the civil service rules, you just cannot sack somebody, without, especially somebody that has not engaged in a gross misconduct. So incompetence is not necessarily a good defense to let somebody go. I think Buhari operates within that kind of a mentality. So no matter how much somebody's performance can be bad, he's not really open to letting them go. And I think that has been taken into account and into consideration by many of his appointees who do not see the incentive to do better. And so, forgive me if I take President Buhari's statement ahead with a pinch of salt, because we have seen, if not, he could cast your mind back to what happened to the former Secretary of the Government of the Federation, that's David Babachir Lawal. It took a lot of pressure for Buhari to let him go on account of corruption charges. You also saw the treatment he gave to Ibrahim Magu. As I speak to you, we were told that Ibrahim Magu, while despite being in detention, has been promoted in rank in the Nigerian police force. So you could see on one hand that the anti-corruption fight is actually not heading in the direction that we actually thought Buhari was going to take it to. And then the president has not really shown that inclination to emphasize competence over incompetence and try to build out bad eggs in the administration. So it doesn't really inspire much confidence that the right thing will be done.
Murtala Ibin has joined us now. Murtala Ibin is a journalist from Humangle. Murtala, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Okay,
hi, Murtala.
Good evening, Sandra.
Good evening. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us. So I'm going to ask you the first question I asked Confidence McHarry, who's from SBM Intelligence. Based on the information we have in the public domain, what exactly happened on the night of the Kuje attack?
Well, it was quite a night that reflected the deterioration in terms of security across Nigeria, especially in the northern part of the country. And it also broke the illusion of having a federal capital that was a fortress shielded by the chaos around it. So what we know from, and also what has been revealed based on those who claim credit for the attack in terms of ISWAP and what the government has said in terms of the prisoners that escaped and those who they believe were responsible for that. So he had a multi-pronged, really large-scale attack within the capital of Nigeria that led to the breaking of the walls of the prisons and then the escape of hundreds of prisoners, including persons associated with Boko Haram. In terms of the total number, the government says they had over 60 people in their custody who were members of the group. It's still unclear how many of them had an ongoing court case, how many of them were going through other counter violence extremism programs that were run by the government. So there's not been a lot of information on who and what were their charges, if they had any court case going. It was really an attack that really showed the fragility of our security and the fact that the capital itself was not shielded from the chaos around it.
Why were terror suspects or convicts housed in a medium security prison instead of maximum? Because Kuje is listed as a medium security facility. We have maximum security prisons like Kirikiri. What do you think is the reason there?
Well, this is quite a a very important question, and it's really like an example of the failures within the system and the nature and how we manage a lot of things in Nigeria. There's a lot of patch work that happens a lot. So some of the factors could include convenient. You have, and they also lack of a lot more in terms of maximum security prisons that could accommodate these people. There are a lot of suspected BH suspects that across a lot of facilities, including in Lagos, the Kirikiri Maximum Prison, and other prison facilities, including in Kaenji. So, but for these ones in Kuje, they're there, and that's why you remember earlier when I said the government has not even told us how many of them had an ongoing court case. So, if you had people who you actually have no court case against, they are only being held in terms of suspicion, then you could technically have them in Kuje because you don't have an ongoing case saying they are suspect for committing crime A, B, C, in contravention of the Terrorism Act and all that. So there are a lot of things, including the fact that they were probably not, we didn't do proper classification. And that's why a few years ago, the government set up a committee to review all high-profile prisoners across Nigeria, including BH suspects, and provide recommendation. Part of that recommendation will have prevented keeping such individuals in Kuje, which was a medium security prison. And we also have the government is building new maximum prisons across the different geopolitical zones. So there were a lot of structural, institutional, and system failures that led to the presence of members Boko Haram in Kuje medium prison. So I guess this is something that we should have known now. How many of them were actually facing court cases? How many of them were in limbo? Did that contribute to having them there? How many of them were actually under the Custodial prison service if they were being managed by other counterterrorism organization?
All right. Mutala Bin is a journalist with Humangle. He's joined by Confidence McHarry, who is at SBM Intelligence. And together we're talking about the Kuje prison attack. Will heads roll for that prison break? I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from this break, I will talk to my guests about what happens next. What are the ramifications of this attack on security in general? What does this prison break tell us about the security and intelligence agencies and what they need to be doing differently? What's happening with the railway hostages? Because there's been some controversy over whether or not ransoms were paid. What have they discovered? Listen again when we come back from this break. Don't go away.
To force people to take vaccine. Let them come and kill me. I can never take it.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
This is not.
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those that need to be fired are fired.
It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not a
Ranging from 1 million naira to 10 million naira only. You can also spread payments across 24 months. Enjoy 10% discount on all our estates and win lots of amazing prizes like a free deed of assignments. Call us now on 0800-400-0300 or visit our website at www.advinesrealtyng.com. All our social media handles are Advance Realty NG. Hurry now. Offers valid till 6th of July 2022. So call 0800-400-0300. Visit us at Suite 4 2nd floor Dominion Plaza off Ibuefo bus stop, Lekki, Lagos. Think lands, think vines.
Hey, Alpha now. You start your day like this. Everything is going well until the unexpected happens. Then, hey,
Igbas boss begin.
Why would you hit me?
If you get our Flexi Comprehensive Motor Insurance Plan, you can save yourself and the painful cost of repairing the damage to your vehicle. For as low as 15,000 naira a year, if someone bashes your car, we pay to get it fixed. Visit www.hairsinsurance.com or call 0700 434 7764 to get the Hairs Flexi Motor Plan. Hairs Insurance, your simple, smart protection.
Enter the place and the brighten. Make everybody they wonder. Waiting because of the shine. Lush hair. Long hair or short doesn't matter. Crochet or dreadlocks can be better. Only for girls we know better. Lush hair. So you want to slay with smile. Gotta be lush hair. Gotta be lush hair. Straight or curly. You know they tango. Lie. Gotta be lush hair. Gotta be lush hair. Wonder how I shine like this. I'm on a lush hair, be the coco. Say you want to know. And if you wanna be fine like me, I can show you where to go. A lush hair, be the coco.
Beautiful people know how to make an impression, and that's why they brought Lush Hair Extensions. Lush Hair, be beautiful.
My name is Shegun, and I be village man. All of una way like to blame us village people because una business they do well. Say una think say we no get our own issue. I beg you, we village people no get your time. Check yourself first.
Village people aren't the reason your business isn't growing. Introducing MoneyPoint, a business bank that helps you realize your business dreams with easy access to quick loans, ease of payment collections, and general business management tools. Visit www.moneypoint.com and let's help you power your business dreams. MoneyPoint, powering dreams.
There's an emergency and you don't know what to do. You don't know who to call or where to run to. Help us, we have got you. We have got you. Help us to the rescue. To the rescue. Get out fast, save lives too.
Help OS is a real-time response app that connects people who urgently need emergency medical response services to ambulance owners. You can download Help OS on Play Store on all Android and iOS devices. Check www.helpos.ng for more information. Help OS. Get help faster, save more lives.
Relax, recharge, and take a break this summer. Find the best summer holiday deals to Dubai, London, Cairo, Florida, and many other amazing cities on wakanow.com. We've got you covered. Book now on wakanow.com or visit any of our travel centers near you. Take a break. Pick a city. Wakanow. Let's go.
From Asia to America, Ajala loves to travel. Africa straight to Antarctica. Ajala loves to travel. For business or pleasure. Ajala loves to travel. Whether alone or with family, Ajala loves to travel.
Get the Leadway Travel Insurance and stay protected from personal baggage or money loss, accident or trip cancellation, medical assistance, and lots more. The Leadway Travel Plan is now with COVID-19 cover, so you can explore endlessly without worries. Visit travel.leadway.com now.
Ajala loves to travel.
Leadway Assurance, ensuring happiness since 1970.
There is something every woman gets when they become mothers. She knows when her family is in pain, and she knows better than to allow red moments linger. With fast-acting and effective M&B paracetamol tablet, the red one, and its pleasant tasting pineapple flavor syrup for children. She sends aches and pains far away from her family. Mothers who know trust May and Baker for its over 70 years of quality experience. Give aches and pain the red card with M&B paracetamol. If symptoms persist after 2 days, please consult your doctor. M&B paracetamol. Pain can't stop you.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Will heads roll for the Kuje prison break? President Buhari said heads must roll, but so far heads are still on shoulders. It's been 9 days since terrorists attacked the Kuje medium security custodial center, and in the 9 days since it happened, Nigerians still have questions, lots of questions. How could this have happened? What lapses let it happen? Who will pay for these lapses? What are the implications for security in the country? I've got two guests with me to answer those questions. My first guest is from SBM Intelligence, Confidence McHarry. My second guest is from Humangle, Motala Ibin. Welcome back to both of you to Hard Facts. Okay, now before the break, we covered what we know about what happened on that night. We covered, well, why there wasn't a stronger security presence or resistance. Actually, I have to ask Muchala that question. Muchala, it seems shocking to Nigerians that such an attack could take place at a medium security prison like Kuje, so close to the international airport, and succeed. Why wasn't there a stronger security presence or resistance?
Well, your question is quite, the answer to that would be multi-faceted when you look at it. So first, after the series of, when we look at it, there is nothing that happens in isolation. Despite the fact that the actors in Kuje were different, we had multiple jailbreaks in Nigeria over the past 2 years. And so there was already a trajectory in terms of the vulnerability of our custodian facility. Technically, as part of the reforms that has happened some years back, they're no longer called prisons, they are called custodian facilities, so that they can at least, and also when the new act was enacted, so that the criminal justice system can be improved, there will be more rehabilitation. So what happened there was there were reinforcement that was put in place across these custodian facilities after the incident in Oyo. And then when the attack happened that day, there wasn't much in terms of the resistance and in terms of the reinforcement. Now, let's get something right.
Right.
No matter the amount of security you have on ground, if there is no proper mechanism for reinforcement, it will still fail. So, but in this scenario, there are issues around, in fact, the capacity of the holding facility in terms of dispute and defensive mechanisms, and then also there's a greater issue around reinforcement. And the reinforcement could be as a result of several factors, including communication, synergy, lack of drills. So there's another aspect of everything is that even if you have all the parts in place and you don't get to move it often. By moving it means conducting periodic drills to test who does what, how it works, and how you do it in a certain scenario, daylight, nighttime. All these things you have to rehearse it, or else when the worst case scenario happens, then you'll be caught off guard. So there are a lot of issues that really there's a need to look at. Why was the defensive, the security measures around the prisons, why did they fail? Why did reinforcement fail? And then apart from the first phase of reinforcement, that means why the attack was going on. There's also the second phase of response, and why were there gaps in terms of the first few hours after the incident, because that's the most important moment to either track down the perpetrators and the escapees. So that too, also there are a lot of gaps there.
Okay. Now let me come to the ramifications for the counterinsurgency. Confidence, I'll come to you with that question. We're told that all the terrorists in custody at Kuje escaped. What are the possible ramifications for the counterinsurgency?
Yeah, so in the first place, as I said in the beginning, the terrorists released the chief bomb maker for the group. So you would expect that the insurgency that is looking to spread between the North Central and the Northwest is going to increase, in the sense that the kind of expertise they needed for some key projects, that's in terms of planning for major attacks. They've already gotten that. They are signified by the release of the bomb maker. And as I speak to you today, there was a clash at Beningwari in Kaduna between Boko Haram and some bandits. So we do expect that some of those clashes will begin to be frequent as they look to consolidate their gains by expanding their territory. Before this attack, we all thought that.
So is it Boko Haram and bandits, or Boko Haram and another sect of terrorists?
So for now, we are dealing with Boko Haram. For the Northwest presently, we are seeing some kind of a brewing tough war between Boko Haram, the existing Boko Haram factions, that's Ansaru and the Islamic State, and other bandits. I think sometime in August, there was a clash between Ansaru and bandits that killed about 30 of them, the latter, because Ansaru had warned them against attacking Muslims, and then the bandits refused, and so they killed them and established their base in that territory. So what we're going to be seeing is that it's going to be giving this attack now, and the manpower they have is going to give them more an upper hand when it comes to any kind of clash. And if it comes to a clash between Ansaru and Islamic State, it's going to be a lot bloodier than we had thought before the attack took place. And for the immediate effect on the capital, I do think that for some time we will have the threat level for the capital raised, and because we do know that each time this kind of an attack or a major security breach take place, you do know that what is to follow next is a couple of attacks that are going to follow almost immediately. So for now, we are looking at not just Abuja but surrounding states, rather, places like Niger, Kogi, Nasarawa, and the rest of them, including Kaduna. So for the short to medium term, the security situation is going to escalate because, of course, they are not coming out of prison to go and sit idle, but they are also going to be used and deployed into the field. So, yes, the security situation is going to worsen, and then the government is going to have more headache on its hands. As currently now, its counterinsurgency plan for the Northwest has not really been established like we have in the Northeast. So it is still in this dithering stage. So it would also require a much more concrete plan, and I don't see that plan actually coming right now. So I do think for now that the terrorists are going to be having the upper hand, and commute within and around those regions are going to be a nightmare for motorists and transporters.
Mochala, do you agree with this or do you disagree?
Well, first I would say first we need to be cautious on how much impact these individuals will have.
Okay.
First, we need to even understand who is who and what role has each individual played that has been re-injected into the group.
Okay.
And secondly, we should also not see this as in terms of an isolation of the greater change, the bigger picture and changes that we've seen over the past few months. So there have been a lot of attacks outside Abuja itself. Like I stated earlier, Abuja is living in a bubble, believing that it's a fortress, while there is a lot of chaos around it. In fact, there was a time where the Abuja International Airport was technically being used as a staging area for conducting air operations in Nasarawa. So also with the fact that there's been lots of incidents in other parts, including Kogi, Suleja, the Abuja Lokoja Road is like Prota, the Abuja Kaduna Road. So there's a lot of insecurity that we need to really look at it as not each case in isolation, but how does each case relate to the other. And so the incident in Kuje, it's part of a trajectory that we've seen, and it really calls for something that we should have done a long time ago, overhaul the system, and also understand the fact that military campaigns are not solutions for operations, are not like the magic button for counterterrorism operations, because counterterrorism operations require really solving it both in terms of kinetic and non-kinetic measures, and then also ensuring that there are no fuels that it can exploit. And those fuels, for now, what we see is the increasing insecurity, which can provide a lot of additional fuel for the situation that we see. And also in terms of, like you said, we'll head to one thing that we continue to fail to do in terms of mitigating security risks is by not providing deterrence. Deterrence here include taking measures. So, for example, if Kuje was properly reinforced, maybe this would not have happened. If Kuje was properly organized, and in terms of how we manage BH suspects, we would not have gotten to where we are, because there have been a lot of cases. In fact, there are a lot of trials that have gotten thrown out because there are no evidence. So there are a lot of members, people who are suspect of terrorism, who are in limbo, because we have not implemented even a committee report that has been submitted to the government, which has also probably led us where we are. Secondly, even with the recent attempt to reinforce security around this custodial facility was not done properly, and it also got us to where we are. Thirdly, also there's been a trajectory where still a new form of attacks over the past few months. Nothing was done to really respond rapidly. And when you mention heads of rule, this how many days now after the incident? No one has been sanctioned publicly. There's not been a government disclosure of a public inquiry that should have even been led by the Senate committee in charge of the internal security, with one of the DPs in terms of candidates actually in terms of the Senate. So the internal security committee of the Senate should actually be chairing a committee now to find those who failed, to find the part of the system that failed that need to be sanctioned, systems that need to be fixed, so that we can prevent other incidents from happening, and then so that we can also reject the internal security mechanisms, including the intelligence community, the police, to prepare for this new, I will not call it new, for this current trajectory that we see.
Okay. Muchala Ibin is a journalist with Humangle. Confidence McHarry is a security analyst with SBM Intelligence. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this evening. Okay, let's move on now to the sports team, who are already in the studio looking at me with their corner eye. But before I let them go on, let me tell you about a little thing called Chipper.
Yes, still on the matter of Sandra, I still wonder why people are paying fees for local transfers and spending money to send money, and even paying full price for airtime when they can get it on.
And I want to assume that you would run, because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those that need to be fired are fired.
It's looking like the brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.